Welcome back to Crescendo. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to my guest, Michelle Glogovac, also known as the podcast matchmaker. Michelle is the founder of the MLG Collective. She's a podcast PR expert and the author of How to Get on Podcasts, which was published by McGraw-Hill in 2024. After spending nearly 2 decades in corporate aviation, Michelle made a bold pivot, discovering the power of podcasting to share meaningful stories and connect with new audiences. Now she helps female leaders land podcast interviews that elevate their authority, expand their reach, and make a lasting impact. In this episode, we dive into how podcast guesting can transform your business, practical tips for crafting a standout pitch, and how to overcome self-doubt to confidently share your story. Whether you're new to podcast guesting or looking to refine your strategy, this conversation is packed with actionable insights. Let's get started. Michelle, welcome to Crescendo. I am so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Rachel. I'm excited to be here.
Before we really get into talking about our topic for today, I would love for you to share with our listeners a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and how you became the podcast matchmaker.
It was a total fluke. I spent 18 years in corporate aviation. I sold jet fuel, and it was because I needed a part-time job in college and I could walk to the airport. And when I graduated, I got a full-time job and I stuck with it. And then along came marriage and 2 kids back to back. My little ones are a year and 3 weeks apart. They're now 8 and 9, so they're not too little. And I was laid off from my corporate job and decided, you know what? I don't feel like I'm making a big difference in the world for them in their future. What is it that I can do that makes me feel like I'm changing the world for them? And that was when I discovered podcasts in 2018. I listened to my first one and I was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. This business coach was talking about having a purpose and a passion. And I was like, yeah, what is mine? And I was sharing that on social media. And she ended up reaching out to me and said, you obviously are resonating with what I'm saying. Do you want to pitch me to be on other shows as a guest? And I had no idea that was even a thing. So I said yes, but I also knew that I need to know everything there was in podcasts. How do you create one? What goes into it? So I learned all I could. I started producing her show and pitching her. I launched my own show, produced other shows, but I fell in love with the pitching part. And so that is solely what I do. I pitch clients to be on other podcasts, to be interviewed as guests, and I work with them to create unique speaking topics that really makes them stand out, but it also builds empathy. It elevates them as a thought leader, shares their knowledge, and really just does so much for them as well as the listener.
Wow, that's such a great story. And I'm pretty sure that's going to resonate for so many of our listeners. The idea of coming out of corporate, not really knowing what you want, but wanting something that felt more purposeful and meaningful and like you're making an impact in the world. So, this first client sort of like came to you and landed in your lap, right? And so then you became like all consuming, right? Like trying
Right.
to learn everything about podcasting and what it looks like to pitch somebody's podcast. Did you then start taking on other clients, or did you really just stay with that coach? Like, what did the next part of your journey look like? Because I feel like you sort of became like this accidental entrepreneur in that moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I was also at the same time learning how to run my own business. And I have 2 teammates. I have Allison, who works with me on the pitching side, and then I have Matt, my editor for my own show. But otherwise, it's all me. And so I do the marketing, do the finance, I do all the crummy parts of business that I really don't enjoy, but I do them because I feel like if you don't know how to do them, then you can't hand them off whenever that time may come. I worry about how are people going to handle whatever it is I do? How will they represent me? And I'm very type A hands-on in that sense. So I feel it's really important to know how everything operates, to also create those processes in place, the systems, write down how you do everything you do so that when you do hand it off, it's more easily done. And yes, that first client came to me, and then word got out as I was continuously posting on social media and then going on other shows myself. I had people come to me, will you produce my show? Will you manage it? And then, oh, will you pitch me too? And it was really me taking that leap of faith saying, you know what? I want to only pitch clients. I don't want to produce more podcasts. I was sick of shows going live at 5 a.m. on a Tuesday. And then at 5 p.m. on Monday night, you get the episode of, oh, yeah, sorry, forgot this week. Can you get this turned around in 12 hours? And I went, yeah, this isn't really what freelancing and being a business owner was what I intended it to be. And so I figured out and trusting myself, trusting my gut of I don't want to do this, but I really want to do this, and leaning into it and trusting that the business will come, the clients will come. And I've been very lucky that all of my business so far has been referral based since 2018. So it's nice. I haven't paid for an ad or anything like that. It's just constantly promoting the clients promoting me, and that kind of a thing. And I think that podcasts have really helped in getting that word out as well.
That's fantastic. So, at what point did you feel like you were an expert then? Because there's so much mind drama. Here you are, new in your field. And I hear this a lot from my clients because they're often newer business owners. They're solopreneurs, right? They're wearing all the hats, just like you just described. And a lot of times, one of the thoughts that comes up for them is like, I'm not enough yet, right? I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough knowledge. At what point did you feel like, okay, I can really call myself an expert in this space and lean into being more comfortable pitching yourself like that?
I look at what competitors are doing. And since I have my own show, I also get pitches for my show. And so I can compare and contrast what is it that I'm producing versus what someone else is generating for their clients. What is someone willing to pay for? And I can then sense of, oh, I'm a step ahead in that one. Every pitch is personalized. Well, that's a step ahead for me and what my clients are getting out of it. I always strive to go above and beyond. So it's not just that we're going to pitch you to clients. I'm creating these speaking topics, creating a branded media kit. I'm trying to give as much as I can to clients and creating new things to offer them, new offerings of let me help you repurpose your content, and not doing it for you, but showing you how to do it. Here are the templates you use. And so for me, it was in seeing what others are doing and then seeing what I'm doing and how I'm striving to really be that standard in this industry of this is how it should be done. That's when I thought, okay, I am an expert at this. I know what I'm doing. I'm getting the yeses. Clients are landing podcast interviews. It's changing lives, whether it's the listener or it's the guest and the client who's going on who then gets a result of a job offer, or now they're in a book, or they've sold more books. To see those results, then it's told me, yeah, you know what you're doing and you're good at it. So you can call yourself the expert.
Right. There's like that concept where you just have to be like a few steps ahead of your clients or your
Yeah,
ideal clients. So I'm hearing a little bit of that like initially, but then really this stark realization that you were a leader in this space. Okay. So you landed a book publishing opportunity. Tell us
I
about
did.
that.
I did. How to Get on Podcasts came out January of last year with McGraw-Hill.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's still one of
McGraw-Hill,
those pinch
fabulous.
me. Yes, I am. I had interviewed a book coach on my podcast and said, well, I want to write a book because I love writing. I love reading. And she said, what are you going to write on? I went, I don't know. You're the coach. Like, where do you start? And she said, your first book should be on what you're known for and what you know how to do. And then I said, okay, well, then obviously it's how to get on podcasts. And the moment I said it, the outline just flowed. I wrote the book within a year. I sent out the proposal. It was very quick. And I went, okay, that is what I was meant to write it on and to get it out there into the world. And then I got to record the audiobook, which came out in March of last year. And it's just been amazing. So definitely whatever you're doing, keep doing it and become the expert and lean into it. That would be my biggest recommendation.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's get a little bit deeper into the power of podcasting. You've seen firsthand how podcast interviews can change lives and businesses. Why do you think that podcast guesting is such a powerful tool, specifically for small business owners to grow their visibility and their authority?
You have the opportunity to reach so many more people than you would in doing anything else. There is the audience that's already listening to the podcast that chances are they haven't heard from you ever before. And now they know who you are. And then the host is sharing with their audience. And That social media audience is often different from the podcast listening audience. There might be some duplicates, but it's another opportunity to reach more people. And if you're sharing it, as you should, a good guest always shares their interviews, then you're reaching more people. And so it's a big ripple effect on the amount of people that you get to reach, and you're reaching them in your own words. You're not paying for an advertisement and trying to catch them in that 30-second spot, whatever it is, or scrolling, but they get to hear your words, your voice for 30 minutes. You're in their ear. It's an intimate conversation. You get to show up as you are. And I don't like the word authentic, because I think if you have to use it, then you aren't being it. So, but you are being authentic. You're being yourself. If you're showing up and giving your knowledge, sharing your story, then you're allowing people to know the real you. And if it's the same one, the biggest compliment I get, and it's so funny, is, "Oh, you're just like you are on your show in real life." And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm the same person. You can't fake it all the time. But if you show up as yourself in every interview, online, whatever it is, wherever you are, then people get to know you and they appreciate that. So I think this is why it's so important for small businesses to utilize podcasts. In addition to that one interview, is giving you a ton of marketing content to repurpose on all of your social media platforms, on your website, literally everywhere. One 30-minute interview is going to give you at least 15 pieces of content. So
That's
it's just
amazing.
another avenue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think a lot of people struggle because they think I actually just had a conversation with somebody on LinkedIn today about paid ads versus organic marketing. And I really only teach organic marketing methods because I think for small business owners, like we can't keep up with the paid strategies. Our budgets aren't there. The algorithms are already changing. But the truth is, there is so much you can do on the organic side if you know how to do it and if you
Mhm.
know what to do. And if you create that strategy first, then I mean, you would be busy for years activating all of that before you exhaust your organic marketing channels and visibility in that way.
Yeah, I totally agree, because we all know the algorithm's only showing your post to so many people. So you can repeat yourself over and over again with a handful of podcasts, and it won't appear as if you're repeating yourself. So it's such a great and easy way to create marketing content for yourself.
Mm, great. Okay, you mentioned storytelling, like people can go on a podcast and share their story. How can small business owners craft a story that is theirs and also resonates with their ideal clients?
I think everybody loves to hear how you start off. Everyone loves a great story of, oh, I came from this and I pivoted to this. And we all have a pivot somewhere along the line. I have yet to meet someone who has not pivoted somewhere. And so it's a great story to share. Why did you launch your business? What is so meaningful about what you do to you? That's going to resonate with somebody. That's going to make someone want to purchase from you your product, your book, your service, because they realize the importance of it. I worked with nonprofits who I've represented different teammates, and that's always a question: is why do you do the work that you do? Because in a nonprofit, you have to raise funds, you have to reach people, you have to do stuff with the government. There's so many different facets. Why would you get out of bed every morning wanting to do this work? And they share their personal story, and it's that personal tie, that story, that resonates with somebody else. It also builds that empathy, and I think we need so much empathy, that to listen to someone's story, the saying that I keep seeing over here in the States right now is, "It doesn't have to happen to you to matter to you." And to listen to someone's story allows you to feel that, to feel what they feel. And even as a business owner, how did you launch your business? And was it easy or was it hard? What did you have to learn along the way? What tips and tools? And how did you do it? And to share all of that freely on an episode, it's going to resonate with the person listening. And Amy Porterfield, I listened to one of her episodes very early on where she said, the more you give away for free, we'll have somebody listening saying, oh, if she does that for free, imagine if I paid her. What kind of information is she going to give me if I actually paid her? And so I always remember that, and that's why I give away as much as I can. That's why I wrote a book and gave everything away in the book, because I want people to be able to use it and to utilize it and to do it for themselves. So if you can relay that in your story when you're on a podcast interview, then people are going to want to connect with you even more and they will want to buy from you because of that.
Absolutely. I actually remember Amy saying that. I don't know if I heard the same episode or if that's one of her like mantras,
Right.
but I do recall her saying that, and that stuck with me as well. It's like you can never give away too much value, and it just really endears you to the people that you're meant to serve. So that's a really good tip for people is like not to be scared of giving too much away, right? Because also
Right.
the experience of working with you is like none other. And so any information they have then just becomes experiential and implemented in their work with you. Okay, let's talk about self-doubt because this is real. uh,
Yes.
I mean, at every stage along the way, all of us battle self-doubt and it
Mhm.
comes up in different forms. A lot of times I think small business owners, solopreneurs, they think that their story really isn't interesting enough or they're not expert enough. What advice would you have for them for overcoming that fear and really confidently stepping into being a podcast guest?
We definitely all have that fear. And even so many years later, showing up online and hitting record, I definitely still have that fear. And then we wonder, okay, well, what if I say the wrong thing? Or what if I turn off the wrong customer and that kind of a thing? And you're not meant for everybody. Like that's okay. And we all have to recognize that. Not everyone is going to want to work with us. Not everyone's going to want to be our friend. We're not going to want to work with everybody either. So remember that it's really not you. And that's first and foremost. Be okay with not being everybody's ideal because everyone is not your ideal either. I think that just showing up and practice on your social media, of just hitting record and then hitting publish, post it, just do it, not thinking about it, not going, oh, what filter should I use? What should I? It's not just what do you say, but how am I showing up? How do I look? And like just yesterday, I forgot that I wanted to take a picture with a certain book that I'm promoting for my new book club. And so I called my 8-year-old inside from playing. I go, can you take a quick picture of mommy with this book? And I had a hoodie on. And I went, that's okay. It works. Let's post it. To forget about that. People want to see you, they want to hear you. And I think the less perfected you show up, the more it resonates with people as well. They don't mind that you have a hoodie on. I don't recommend you just show up in a hoodie on a podcast guest interview though. Like, but it's already planned out. So show up as your best. But when it comes to social media and whatnot, just simply show up and be yourself and share because that is what connects other people. And know that everybody has that self-doubt, every single one of us. And to think that your story isn't interesting, I get that too. So share your story with one other person, share it with a friend and ask them what part resonates. Some work I did with my therapist was that I told her I have this issue where people say, "Oh, you're really inspiring." And I go, "But I don't understand. Like what is it?" And she goes, "Did you ask them?" No, no. What? Why would I ask? She goes, "You need to start asking." That was my homework. Is if I got a message, whether it was from someone I knew or a stranger of, "Oh, you're so inspiring," or, "Oh, this is so great that you did." I have to ask, "Why? Do you mind me sharing with me, like, why you find me inspiring?" And then you get that feedback, and that's gonna remove your self-doubt as well. So ask for the feedback when you share your story with a friend, with your partner, with anybody of what part did you like? Was there anything that stood out to you? What resonated with you? And you can always make post-it notes that you put on your computer because the podcast host can't see your post-it notes. So give yourself little reminders of make sure that I mention this part of my story. This part resonates and just post those on your screen. Nobody's going to see them, but it'll remove some of that self-doubt as well because it's resonated with somebody else who's already heard your story. So those would be my big tips of how to push past it. Hopefully it helps somebody. That's how I've worked through it.
Oh, I'm sure those tips will. I'm sitting here like getting a little uncomfortable just thinking about if somebody were to say to me, "You're so inspiring," and I say, "Oh, thank you. Can you tell me more about that? Like, why do you think so?" I can't even imagine doing that. And yet, as you say it, I completely see the value in it.
I was so proud of myself. You have no idea. And then they respond too. They will answer you as to what specifically it was. And then you file it away in a folder. I haven't in my inbox, there's a folder. It's called love. So I can always refer back to the love that was given to me and why people would find something I said inspiring, because we don't often find ourselves inspiring. Honestly, I don't go, "Oh, wow, Michelle, you are just so inspiring today, that story." That's not what I do.
Yeah.
So to have it reflected back to you, it's what we all need. So on the flip side, I would say if you find somebody inspiring or somebody has done something that you appreciate, you should definitely let them know. Compliment them and let them know why.
This is so great. That is so great. Okay. Now we get to some very practical pitching tips. What are some tips you have to like create a standout pitch?
Never copy and paste.
Oh, so
Always
good. Let's just start
these are
there.
simple. Yeah, there is no copy and paste in PR, no matter if it's traditional PR or podcast PR. Do not copy and paste. And I say that, yes, there is a little 2 or 3 sentence part of every pitch that is copy and paste because the client doesn't change who they are and what they do. That's the only part that will remain the same is the client's name, the hyperlink to their website, and who they are. But otherwise, everything should be unique. Listen to the podcast before you pitch to them. I love to call myself a stalker. I love to do a deep dive on who it is that we're pitching. Is there anything else that stands out? Listen to an episode, not the most recent one. I find that's lazy. Scroll down and really find something that connects with you, and then share of yourself. What did you love about that episode? Pull out a specific part that was said and why that made sense to you. What did you get out of that? And that's how you're going to really connect right away. And then go read the host's About Me page. What is it about them that stands out? Do you have something in common with them? Mention it, because the more you give, the more the host is going to give. And then share, this is why me or my client would be a great guest, because this is what they're going to bring to the audience. This is the knowledge that they're going to share. Here are some of the topics they speak on. I always create at least 6 unique speaking topics in the media kit. We don't copy and paste them all. We pick 2 or 3 of the ones that most go along with the show that we're pitching to. So select just 2 or 3. If they want to look at other ones, then they're already there in the attachment. Hyperlink everything. Do not make them leave your email to Google you. Click on your name. That should go right to your website. Make it so easy. Share where you've been featured, other interviews. And if you haven't before, that's okay too. But chances are you are somewhere on the internet. I know that you are on the internet somewhere. And if you aren't, make a video of yourself, throw it on YouTube, and then you can link to that for the first pitch until you get some interviews under your belt. I make a Spotify playlist for every client, so they have all of their interviews in one place, and then that can be hyperlinked as well. It's also included in the media kit. But give the host everything that they need so that they don't have to go find out who you are. They can stalk you if they want, but they don't have to because you've given them all of the information. And then follow up in 2 or 3 weeks. Do not follow up the next day or in less than 24 hours. This is not breaking news. And podcast hosts have lives. We have jobs. We have families. We're not waiting patiently for that next pitch. I wish we were, but we're not. There's other things going on. So let us take that moment to go check you out and see, is this the right person for my show? Is this what I want to interview on? Is this the right topic? And follow up politely in 2 weeks. I always go to the sent folder and I reply to the initial email. So everything is still right there. Don't create a new one saying, oh, I just want to check, did you get my last email? What last email? It's not in the thread. Now I have to go search for it. So create the least amount of work possible for the host.
So many valuable tips here that Michelle is giving all of us. Okay, make it easy. That's like first and foremost. Make it easy. You do not want to create friction or work for the person that you're pitching. Um, when I received a message from your teammate Allison, it did stand out because she specifically talked about an episode that she had listened to. And I do get people pitching me and saying, hey, I listened to this episode, but then they don't say anything else. And
Right.
so you don't, I'm like, I don't know if you did or didn't, whatever. it actually caught my attention, and very few cold pitches do I respond to. And I responded to her because she went into depth about what she liked about that episode. And I just really appreciated her effort. And then those hyperlinks were there, and I could quickly click, learn a little bit more about you, and say, yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with her. Bring her on. So this works, people. This really works.
Thank you. Yay, Allison. She'll listen to the episode. She listens to all of them too after the fact as well, because we'll pull quotes for clients. So she listens to all of them and is looking for quotes to pull so they can repurpose it and share it. So she'll get the shout out, and I love that.
Okay, sending lots of Allison love here. And I love your idea about creating a Spotify playlist. That's brilliant.
And it's
Because
something
there's
that you
nothing worse
can,
than like searching all over the place for all the links.
yeah.
And you just want to have everything as streamlined and consolidated as possible.
And you can use the link, you can embed an actual player on your website. And every time you add that new interview to your playlist, it updates everywhere. You can add the link to your media on your LinkedIn profile. You can add the link to your bio and all of your social media platforms. So it's very useful and resourceful to have that one link where everything is listed.
So fabulous. Michelle, thank you so much for being here, for sharing your story and your wisdom and really a lot of expertise. I very much appreciate you being here. Where can people connect with you and learn more about your services?
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Our website's themlgcollective.com. My personal website's michelleglogovac.com. And you can find us all over the internet. My podcast is My Simplified Life, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And my book, How to Get on Podcasts, is available everywhere in audiobook, hardback, and ebook.
Great. And of course, we will link all of this in the show notes so you don't have to go searching all over the interwebs to find Michelle. Michelle, thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who would benefit from the insights and strategies we explore here on Crescendo. This podcast is all about helping you amplify your voice, grow your business, and step fully into your expertise with confidence. Make sure to stay connected so you don't miss future episodes packed with actionable takeaways, inspiration, and the support you need to build a business that aligns with who you are. Until next time, keep showing up and sharing your voice.